Most people think they're busy, but let's be honest with ourselves for a moment. Busy is not the same as productive. In fact, being busy is often a distraction in disguise. It's a performance. Notifications, emails, back-to-back meetings, endless scrolling, they make us feel occupied. They give us that false sense of motion. But when we look back at the end of the day or the end of the week, we're often left with a hollow feeling. The uncomfortable truth is this: nothing truly meaningful got done. And in our world, which is saturated with distractions, the ability to focus deeply without any distraction has become exceptionally rare. And because it is so rare, it has become incredibly valuable. This is the powerful core idea behind Cal Newport's book, Deep Work. It's a book that argues, convincingly, that focused concentration is now the ultimate superpower. It's the most powerful skill you can cultivate if you want genuine success in your career, your business, and your life. So, what exactly is deep work? Cal Newport defines it with precision. Deep work is professional activities performed in a state of distraction-free concentration that push your cognitive capabilities to their absolute limit. This type of work creates real value. It's how you improve your skills meaningfully, and it is extremely hard to replicate or automate. Think of it as the work that actually moves the needle. Writing a complex proposal, coding a difficult algorithm, crafting a strategic plan, learning a new language, or writing a chapter of a book. This is deep work. On the other side of the coin, we have shallow work. Shallow work is non-cognitively demanding, logistical-style tasks, often performed while distracted. These tasks feel productive, but they aren't. Checking and answering emails, attending most status update meetings, scrolling through social media under the guise of research, moving tasks from one list to another, these are all shallow work. They keep you busy, they make you look active, but they do not move your life or your work forward in any significant way. The problem is, modern society and many of our workplaces often reward visibility over actual value. We've created a culture where looking productive is sometimes easier and more immediately gratifying than doing the difficult work that actually matters. One of the biggest reasons people struggle so much with focus today is that, quite simply, we've trained our brains to crave distraction. Think about it. Every single notification ping, every quick scroll through a feed, every glance at a new email, it delivers a tiny hit of dopamine. We've conditioned ourselves for constant, low-level stimulation. And in doing so, we've systematically weakened our mind's ability to concentrate on a single task for a prolonged period. This is why deep work feels so uncomfortable, even painful when you first try it. Your brain, used to the constant carnival of inputs, rebels against the silence and the sustained effort. It begs for an escape. But here's the crucial reframe. That discomfort is not a signal to stop. It's a sign that you are in the gym. Your focus muscle, which has been neglected and atrophied, is finally being trained. The strain means it's working. Newport explains that successful people, those who consistently do deep work, don't rely on fleeting motivation. They rely on structure and ritual. They don't wait to feel focused. They schedule deep work into their calendar and protect that time as aggressively as they would protect a meeting with their most important client. They decide in advance, from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., I am doing nothing but this one cognitively demanding task. They eliminate escape routes, turning off the internet, putting their phone in another room, closing the door. For them, focus is not a mood you hope to find. It is a habit you deliberately build through systems. Another powerful idea from deep work is that clarity is the foundation of focus. When you are unclear about what truly matters, everything can feel important and urgent. That vagueness is what allows shallow tasks to take over your day. Deep workers operate differently. They define a very small number of high-impact, ambitious goals for their quarter, their week, and their day. And then, with ruthless clarity, they eliminate or ignore everything that does not directly serve those goals. They understand a profound trade-off.
Saying yes to every minor request and distraction means, by default, saying no to your most meaningful, impactful progress. The book also forcefully challenges one of the great myths of modern work, that multitasking is a strength. The science is clear. Multitasking is a weakness. It destroys performance. Every single time you switch tasks, from writing a report to checking a Slack message and back again, your brain pays a significant cognitive cost. Researchers call this attention residue. Part of your mind is still stuck on the previous task. You lose momentum, you lose depth, and the quality of your work plummets. Deep work requires the opposite, monotasking, doing one thing fully and completely with no escape routes, giving it your entire attention until it is done. One of the more provocative strategies Newport introduces is the idea of embracing boredom. Most of us have a reflex. The moment we feel a twinge of boredom, waiting in line, sitting in a lobby, during a commercial break, we immediately reach for our phones. But this constant low-level distraction is like doing anti-focus training all day long. Newport argues that boredom is actually where your focus muscle is built. By training yourself to resist that itch, to simply sit with your thoughts during these moments, you are strengthening your attention span. If you cannot handle a few minutes of boredom in a checkout line, you will not be able to handle the sustained effort required for deep work.
On a practical level, one of the most impactful lessons is about quitting social media, but not blindly. Newport doesn't advocate for deleting everything in a dramatic purge. Instead, he proposes a thoughtful framework. Evaluate every tool, especially social media platforms, based on a simple question. Does this tool's positive impact directly and significantly support what I value most in my life and work? If a tool provides only minor occasional benefits, but is a major source of distraction and fragmented attention, then it is not worth the cost. Your focus is too valuable, too expensive a resource to waste on tools that don't serve your core goals. Importantly, deep work also requires its counterbalance, deliberate rest. Your brain cannot operate at peak concentration for unlimited hours. High performers understand this rhythm. They work with intense, undistracted focus for defined periods, and then they disconnect completely. They have a shutdown ritual at the end of the workday. They protect their weekends and their sleep. Rest is not laziness. It is a critical part of the creative and cognitive process. Without genuine mental rest, the capacity for depth disappears. So the core message of deep work is simple, yet profoundly uncomfortable in a culture that glorifies busyness. Success in the modern world does not come from doing more things. It comes from doing fewer things, but doing them much, much better. While others chase attention and visibility, deep workers build lasting value. While others are trapped in a cycle of reaction, deep workers create. In a noisy, distracting world, the ability to focus is true power. And those who learn to control their attention, who learn to cultivate depth, will ultimately control their future and their impact. If this message resonates with you, imagine what applying these principles could do for your work and your life. The first step is simply recognizing the difference between being busy and being productive, and then choosing deliberately to go deep.